Hey, it's Brooke and Jeffrey in the morning.
You can scroll it later, or better, you can listen live to Brooke and Jeffrey every weekday morning. Big fun, real moments, the laughs that make your day. Your station, your city, right now. That's called radio. In Seattle, that's called Moving 92.5.
Don't ask me to talk.
And welcome to yet another exciting Friday the 13th edition of Don't Ask Me to Talk. It's your lucky day because you found the podcast with the podcast pals. That's right. We should really trademark this. I'm Eric Ryder, and you are...
I am Stacey Heller, and I am so lucky. I'm lucky that I get to do this show with you.
Aww.
Also,
this is why we're podcast pals.
I was born on Friday the 13th in March.
Nice. I was also born on the 13th. I don't know if it was a Friday, but I've had Friday the 13th birthdays over the years. So
yeah. So there you go. Well, it's my
we're two unlucky pennies that stick together.
Yeah. Well, and it's my not so subtle way of saying it's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
What's a girl got to do? What are you, my husband?
Drink a glass in your honor here.
Oh, there we go. Thanks. I've got my Diet Coke. Yeah, so hey, it's my birthday. I got married on the 13th. You were born on the 13th. I mean, it is just lucky for us.
That's right. Or unlucky for the world, maybe. But
no. And also, we're back together after lots of pre-recording of episodes and traveling and moving and all of these things.
That's right.
We are actually back on not a parallel timeline. We are back on the current timeline.
Yes, yeah. Although we're in different time zones now.
Yes, we are.
Yes, which is weird. And did daylight savings time occur for Texas?
It did, although
okay.
Ironically, I was in Pennsylvania.
Right. And Pennsylvania, they celebrate?
They celebrate. And
they sprung ahead an hour?
Yep.
Nice.
So I feel like I have no idea what time zone I'm in anymore. I'm just slurring them all together.
Okay, so you're 2 hours ahead of us here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, 2 hours ahead of Seattle and California, where you are, where my kids are, and then one now from the East Coast.
Well, see, being coastal elites, at least as you used to be,
Wow.
you can attest to this as a former coastal elite. You can attest that we typically think of the Pacific time zone and the Eastern time zone and forget about Mountain and Central. Probably because we just don't want to do math in our on a daily basis. But so it's easy to forget, like, oh, okay, are they 2 hours ahead? Are they 1 hour ahead? Are they, 3 hours ahead, I guess? Yeah, it can be confusing. But it's roughly the afternoon as we're taping this, which is nice. And we're both awake.
We are definitely both awake. And so far, I like this time zone. This time zone's treating me well.
Excellent.
I can still communicate with people in Washington, and I'm sort of tracking what's going on the East Coast, but I feel special. It's my own time zone, unique to me.
And how has Texas been treating you so far? I know you've spent a grand old total of 1 day there since you've been to Mexico and to Pennsylvania in between talking here. But how are you finding your new home?
Well, thank y'all for asking.
Oh, no, it begins.
So the food is great. I mean, let's just be honest. I'm a beef girl. I love Mexican food. So the food, chef's kiss. totally enjoying that. People seem to be very polite and hospitable, so that's cool. I was at a bar that is quite literally you leave our apartment building and it's like right there. It's not even across the street; it's across the sidewalk.
There's no zoning laws in Texas, from my understanding. So you can have school, saloon, apartments, industrial waste rendering, like on the same block.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So this bar called Otto's Ice House. First of all, the story's amazing. The area that we live in is called the Pearl, and the Pearl once was the home of the Pearl Brewery. And they
and not because it smells like oysters?
Correct.
Okay, good.
There is no water in sight. Fresh water, anyway. And so Pearl Brewing was here, and I guess it was owned and operated. I don't know my history yet, so don't come at me, people. But I guess that was owned and operated by this guy, Otto something. And he had a wife named Emma. And sadly, Emma got sick. And Emma's nursemaid was also named, yes, you guessed it, Emma. And then somehow there was a third Emma involved. And Otto had an affair with both of them.
Okay.
So,
wow.
third Emma shot and killed Otto because she had it.
Where does Pearl come in?
I don't know. It's the name of the brewery.
I thought this was the story of why it's called the Pearl. Suddenly it's just hot goss on long dead Otto, but I'm here for it. I'm just trying to follow along.
It's called the Pearl because the Pearl Brewing Company was there. I don't know why they called it Pearl Brewing.
Okay.
I haven't done that much historical deep diving. I'm focusing on the hot goss.
Fair enough.
So anyway, Emma the third kills Otto, and suddenly Emma, the wife, is like, I don't feel so sick anymore. And she starts running the place and then expands it and basically takes it over, and it does really, really well. And the moral of the story is 3 Emmas, maybe 1 Emma too many.
Right.
So anyway, I'm at this bar, Otto's place, and Pete and I were working on some paperwork, and we're normally not side boothing couples. Like, you know how some people sit across from their significant other and some people side booth? We're not really side boothers. But we were working on something, and we both had to look at the computer screen. So he's typing away, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I noticed the guy at the bar. He looked different. So I said to our server, what's up with Jesus at the bar? And he said, oh, you mean Spurs Jesus? And I'm like, what? Turns out there's a mega fan for the San Antonio Spurs, the basketball team, that is Spurs Jesus. And he dresses like Jesus, but with more fan gear. And there was Jesus at the bar with his hat and his sunglasses and it's not like a selfie stick, but his recording thing so that he could, self-promote that he's at the bar, greeting fans. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So only in San Antonio.
Is he Spurs Jesus because every time they score, it's a miracle?
That is an excellent question, one that I could ask him on the 17th when he'll be live streaming from Otto's Ice House.
Okay.
Which, not a sponsor, but I might have to see if we could get Otto's Ice House to be a sponsor of our show.
And I stand by that joke, but as I look it up, apparently the San Antonio Spurs are pretty good. They were second in the Western Conference. So,
well, did you look up San Antonio Spurs Jesus?
No. But let's see if he's got a social presence.
Oh, he does.
Okay.
And
there he is.
There he is.
Cordero Maldonado.
I think you could just call him Jesus.
Okay, well, that's what his real name is. Yeah, he's got a lot of Spurs gear on, and there you go. Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of a funny thing that happened on the way to getting some paperwork done. And then, get this, every Tuesday night at Stable Hall, that's right, Stable Hall, there is free music and free two-step and line dancing lessons. So guess who went this past week? Your girl.
Okay, so you're really embracing the San Antonio lifestyle.
Well, look, I am really embracing this more urban lifestyle. It is
like a rhinestone cowboy, if you will.
Yes, 100%. I feel like I'm probably more bedazzled than anything else, but I was like watching this group, this huge open room that's like a barn or a stable, you know how that is, and there's a stage, and these two people are calling out and teaching everyone, and the room is moving like it should, obviously, but in unison with people turning, going in the, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. It was a sea of humanity. Super fun, walking distance, and so out of my comfort zone. And I decided that if there is a counselor, mentor, coach, psychologist, psychiatrist, if there is somebody that would like to do some kind of a study on a married couple and they need a topic, great. Do a married couple learning how to two-step. Holy cow. I'm like...
So you and Pete are boot scooting boogieing.
Don't have the boots. We're sort of scooting, and we're not up to boogieing yet.
Okay. But you're aspiring to.
Yes, we are. Look, here's what it comes down to. I want to be good enough that one of the guys that was there comes over and asks me to dance and then just whooshes me away and brings me around the dance floor like nobody's business. Because I'll tell you what, say what you want about a lot of things about Texas, but the men are not afraid to dance.
All right.
And as a 56, as of today, year old woman, I just want a man to take charge and lead me around the damn dance floor. That's what I want for my birthday.
All right. Well, Pete, hopefully you've decided to finally listen to an episode of the podcast, so you know.
100% no.
What to do. Put on those boots. You're boot scooting boogieing tonight.
Well, and I'm like, am I going to have to like country music now? Like, what's up? Ugh.
Yeah, you say they're not afraid to dance, but they're not afraid to line dance to country music.
I mean, no. They're not afraid to dance.
Right. But I'm saying that doesn't necessarily translate to the rest of the humanity there.
It's true. It is a very specific type of dancing.
Right.
I 100% admit. But right now, it's adorable.
All right. Well, enjoy.
And I say that with like, I'm not being condescending or like, it's freaking adorable. Watching these, like anything from like this 9 and probably 11-year-old boy and girl learning how to dance all the way up to old folks like me dancing around and fumbling and trying to figure it out. It was darn wholesome.
Very good. Well, maybe you'll run into Spurs Jesus again. They're learning to line dance as well in his flip-flops.
He only does it when there's water because he likes to walk on water.
Right.
But if I want to run into him again, I just have to go to back to Otto's.
A Spurs game, I would think.
Well, he's going to be live streaming on the 17th.
Of course, as you said.
Yeah. Well, and I found out, because I know that you celebrate this very important holiday, St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. I think they dye the river.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Right. Because there's not enough pollution in Texas rivers.
Okay. You know what? I am trying to find the good, my man.
Fair enough.
And so I am doing what I can in order to find the good. And I've only seen a couple holstered guns.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Well, very good. So you're settling in. You're settling in. You're getting adapted to the culture. Having a good time. It sounds like.
You know what? Yeehaw! I will learn more about what this version of me looks like in the coming weeks and months. And so,
when you're hosting the show in a 10-gallon hat,
and then I really will look like that guy that's like hankering for a hunk of cheese.
That's right. Get yourself a wagon wheel.
Exactly.
That's crackers and cheese.
Okay. How are you doing? What's new with you?
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, we just played a show at the, this feels like it's straight out of Texas, but the Central Saloon in Seattle. In Pioneer Square, which also kind of sounds like it's out of Texas, but it's not. But we had a great time, a lot of fun, great bands.
It was a multi-band lineup, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we don't ever play a show just by ourselves.
Yet.
we try and bring in other folks, and so we had Grizzly and Leaf Miner, both great bands. They sounded great. We had a fun time. So thanks to everyone and anyone that came out. If you heard about it via the show, appreciate you. So,
and did you bring your T-shirts?
Of course, yes. Okay. Yeah. So that was fun. And of course, we did have daylight savings time changeover. So I've been trying to get used, it seems so stupid to like that a 1 hour thing would be such a disruption, but I can't help it. It really is. My sleep has been off all this week. And it doesn't help that somebody seemed to have actually been celebrating daylight savings time, because right at 3 a.m. on Sunday, when I'm trying to doze off, boom! I hear these big booms. And I'm what the hell is that? So I don't know. Maybe somebody's celebrating with a grenade launcher or something, but it was like that jarred me awake. So yeah, but the house is still standing, so everything turned out okay. Gertie's okay, yeah. I think she's starting to lose her hearing, so it's probably beneficial to her, yeah.
Dare I say it? That's actually perfect. That'll be spot on.
Yeah. So it's been a fun week of trying to catch up on that sleep and playing the show half awake, but still giving it my all, of course. And I think that's about it. I've been, of course, trying to cross off some more cultural blind spots and watch some classic movies, which I did. So we can talk about that in the next segment. And you told me that you are without a TV down there in Texas because of the move. You ended up leaving your TVs here. I don't know if you even crossed off any cultural blind spots. But last time we talked, you were going to take a flight and you were going to watch the movie Weapons, which I recommended on the show.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to hearing your hot take on that. And now that you're surrounded by actual weapons on a daily basis, what did you think about the metaphorical weapons?
I have much to say.
All right. So everybody do stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Don't Ask Me to Talk. This is Eric Ryder reminding you to follow us on Facebook. We're at Don't Ask Me to Talk, and we're on Instagram, again, at Don't Ask Me to Talk. We'd love to hear from you, so check us out on social media and leave us a comment, leave us a like. Remember, you can always email us directly at asking@don'taskmetotalk.com or leave us a voicemail or text at 475-999-2726. That's 475-999-2726. And we're back right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. I'm Eric Ryder, one of your podcast pals.
Hey, I'm the other one. I'm Stacey Heller.
Yes.
How y'all doing?
Soon to be the new Spurs Mary Magdalene.
That is amazing. I would fully embrace that role. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh.
What if all of the characters from the Bible were now suddenly represented as Spurs fans?
That's kind of amazing. I'm going to have to work on this.
Spurs Moses.
Exactly. You part the floor so that a shot can be made. I like this.
Could be interesting.
Judas. Oh, who's the person that turned their back on the team? Isn't that what Judas did?
Oh, sure. I didn't hear you say Judas. I thought we were still talking about Moses. But,
No.
All right. Fair enough. Anyway, so this is the segment of the show we like to talk about our cultural blind spots or just culture in general that we've consumed over the last week or so. But we have both tried to make, especially me, tried to make it a project where we cross off some of the big films and TV and stuff from the previous decades that we never got a chance to, regardless of the fact that they were, hugely embraced by the culture and talked about endlessly. And we were just left out of the loop because of our busy lifestyles. So been trying to, or whatever, excuse me. I don't really feel like that at this point in time. So we've been doing some of that over the last year or so, and it's been a lot of fun. And as I teased before the break, I had talked about the movie Weapons, which was up for an Oscar nomination this year, a few weeks ago on the show. After watching
Is it actually?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is?
Let's look it up.
I didn't know that.
Our friend the internet. Well, yeah, I mentioned it on the show when I talked about it.
Well, you don't think I listened, do you?
For the Academy Award for Best Actress.
Best Supporting Actress for Amy Madigan.
Right.
As Aunt Gladys.
Yeah. And she's great in this. Creepy as hell.
Creepy.
But deserving of a nomination for Best Actress. So let's start with you this time. I feel like I end up dominating this segment, but I love hearing your takes on stuff, especially after I've watched about it and talked about it on the show. Now, I would not say that watching a movie on a plane is the ideal way to absorb the full cinema experience, but it can be in some ways more engaging than watching at home, just because you've got nothing else to do.
Yes,
and it's right in front of your face. So
as I've mentioned, I don't love a scary movie, like a thriller in that way. And so it was sort of perfect.
Well, first thing I'm wondering on that note, did they adjust the movie, edit the movie at all with the idea that it's on a plane? Because sometimes they do that. Like this movie has been altered for your plane viewing experience or whatever. You get a disclaimer at the beginning. Did it have that?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
That would have been helpful to, I mean, it may have been like formatted to fit your screen kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't know what I was expecting about this movie. But
okay.
Luckily, actually, you were there to, like, I was like, all right, I know something's going to happen at 2:17 or whatever time it was, 2:13, 2:17. And so I was like, all right. I was not expecting a little kid narrator. There were so many things that I was struck by. I was very struck by how all the kids zoomed out of the house with their hands like slightly out and behind them. And I was like, for some reason that struck me that like everybody did the same thing.
Yeah.
I was struck by Aunt Gladys. What a wackadoodle. I was struck by the little boy, Alex, and that it was interesting that she weaponized all of these people that she had sort of collected, and it shows that she just needed to weaponize him with the threat of doing something to his parents, doing something further to his parents. So I thought that was really interesting. There was a lot going on. Like, it was throwing me off the scent constantly. Like, it was like, oh, the teacher. Like, they're making it seem like she's wildly inappropriate because she hugs a student. But these days, God forbid a teacher hug a student, they can end up in hot water, and it could be seen as being like a horrible thing. And then, like, the drinking problem.
And the teacher played by Julia Garner.
Yep.
Who's fantastic in the movie. Yep.
And, so it's smart in that they kept bringing up things where you're like, you've been sort of sanitized as a viewer to be like, well, it's not surprising that, it would be a problem if she's getting too close to the students. And because she got in trouble in the past for hugging a student. And then like the drinking problem. And it's like, well, she's a drinker. And, her wanting to connect with the one student that wasn't impacted. Like they did some things very smartly, I thought, where it kept you like kind of guessing. There was some levity throughout, like the drug addict guy.
Yeah.
And, you're like, okay, what's going on here? And I don't know. It was a lot. It was so much. Because then there was like jump scares and you were like, but not a ton of them really.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like you knew it was coming, but then when they would like basically go feral, like the principal, I'm like, why did he have to kill his partner? Come on. Why do we have to have like this crime?
Because he's overtaken with an evil spell.
I know, but like, come on, his partner was so cute. Like, why? No, we don't need that. So the whole thing was so odd and so much to take in, and yet I was like, actually, this is kind of good.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, it ended up, that's what I'm saying. Like, out of context, if you talk about any of these things, it's like, what? But then the way that they, the dad triangulates, is it this tower that somehow, like, I'm thinking Aaron Brockovich, where, I'm like, oh, is something muddied the waters and it's near this tower? But no, it all seems to triangulate with this kid Alex's house. And you're like, ha-ha. And, just these things that happen and the way that human nature is and that kind of thing. And then the Aunt Gladys thing is 100% like her showing up was the equivalent to me of a Jack in the Box. Like all of a sudden she popped up and you're like, what is that?
Right.
Where did she come from? This just got really weird.
Yeah, she's got a bit of the scary clown kind of vibe about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you're just like, what is happening here? And so everything it could veer into the crazy and fantastical, but like it somehow it all worked. And at the end, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
And
like,
what did you think of the storytelling device, breaking it up to the POVs of the various characters, leading up to different scenes? Yeah, so did I. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I ended up liking that where, and it didn't necessarily pick up right where the other person left off. Sometimes you overlapped like around the same time. Sometimes you were going back in time and then crisscrossing over what you already knew.
Yep.
So I thought that was a really interesting device. Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And
I told you it was good, and you're like, I'm going to watch this, and yet you think like it's going to be terrible.
I don't know. I'm like, come on. How good can it be? And it ended up being really good. Because I guess I'm used to like, very often, like to me, like I would end up putting that in a way it could get lumped into like horror type stuff, right? Versus like thriller or whatever. And so I end up just painting with a very wide brush, like what a horror movie is. And I'm like, it's just like jump scares and like, let's throw people off so that they can't sleep tonight. And this wasn't that.
Would you agree that it's more creepy than scary?
Yes.
Like it kind of like haunts you a little bit afterwards more than like, it's like, make you jump out of your seat kind of thing.
Yes. And you didn't really get an answer because you're like,
right.
Okay, like there's got to be others like Gladys out there.
Well, I was left wondering, I wonder if Aunt Gladys is actually their aunt. Is she related to them at all? Or did she just maybe like take over the life of the real Aunt Gladys? Like, is she more of a demon like creature that just kind of took somebody's life so she could insinuate herself into other people's lives? Or is she the real Aunt Gladys, but she's just become so creepy and disturbed over time with her messing with black magic that she's willing to sacrifice her family members?
I mean, it was kind of crazy, and it made you want to kind of go back and listen to the conversations that they had after Aunt Gladys had arrived.
Right.
And they're like, she looks like way different. And you're like, well, maybe it's because she basically has like a clown mask on.
Yeah. I tell you, the one time where I went, was when Julia Gardner, as the teacher, Justine, like follows the boy home, Alex, and they've got like newspaper up on all their windows. And then she like peeks in the window and the parents are just sitting there like zombies on the couch. And it's just like a kind of like kind of moment where it's like, oh no. And then she goes back and looks again, which I would not have done. I would have been, bye.
Yeah, totally does.
I'm just leaving town. I'm not solving this mystery. I don't care.
Fine, guilty. You think what you want to think. Well, and and in those moments, I'm like, come on, where's your phone? Take a picture. Come on.
Yeah.
But she kind of can't go there. But yes, it was very, very interesting. It was interesting that they, like, at the end, it wasn't like, okay, well, everybody's back together now and everything's great. It was like, a year later, like some of the kids are even starting to talk again.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
And I feel like there's a lot of symbolism in this movie, but because it's a fairly current movie, and we just don't have that much time, I'm not going to, get into a debate on that. But I think it's like one where it's like there's many layers to the film.
I agree.
that I think people can kind of sit with and think about and enjoy, or not enjoy, maybe. But there's definitely like a lot of symbolism in this movie that makes you think about it for a while. So it's not just saw it, move on kind of thing.
I agree with you 100%. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways to weaponize people. And there was a lot of weaponizing going around on every level. I mean, from the girlfriend that the cop cheated on to the teacher to Aunt Gladys, and the way that she weaponized the kids, but also the way that she weaponized the parents and used them against the nephew. I mean, just a lot of different levels, and the influence that all you need is a little bit of who somebody is and you can control them potentially.
Right. And I mean, but it was more than that. I mean, at least in the movie, she's using, black magic and a special tree to help her out with this. Yeah. This is like mind control kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than just emotional manipulation, which our regular aunts are masters at.
You still wear that sweater I made you, sweetie?
That's right. All right. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did.
Because I
shouldn't have been surprised.
When you said, "Oh, this sounds interesting, I'm going to watch this," I was kind of thinking like, no, she's not. She's not going to watch this. And also, if she does watch this, this is horror adjacent. And she's already said, I don't like horror movies. So now I feel slightly bad for recommending it. But I'm so glad that you did see it and that you did enjoy it. And that we can agree on this as being, one of the more interesting movies of the last year for sure.
Well, and in the words of Glenda or whoever it is, I have been changed for good. So thanks to your recommendations, I do listen, and I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting to me.
Well, very good. Very good.
So what about you? You probably have watched
I watched a lot of stuff. But I'm going to keep it to just a couple things here, just so that we have time to get into our topic today, our great debate, if you will, which is
neither great nor a debate.
Yeah, but we haven't even teased what that is yet on the episode. But last week, the wheel chose microwave fish, which I think is hinting at annoying things that our coworkers can do and office etiquette maybe. We'll get into that discussion in the next segment. But I finally had a chance to watch the movie Key Largo recently.
Oh, okay.
And I enjoyed it quite a bit. Humphrey Bogart in this movie, Lauren Bacall in this movie. And I tell you what, going into this thing, I had no idea what this movie was or what it was about. All I knew was the Bertie Higgins song, Key Largo. That's we had it all, just like Bogey and McCall. Sail away to Key Largo. You know that song, right? That was like a big soft rock hit. So in my mind, this movie was just like a romantic rom-com with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in it. Whatever, taking a sailing adventure. I had no idea what this thing was at all, but I knew it was considered a classic, right?
Yep.
And when I saw, Edward G. Robinson's in it, Lionel Barrymore is in it. These are heavy hitters. I thought, maybe I'll give this a chance. And I'm so glad I did, because this movie is a lot of fun. For folks that aren't familiar with it, just like me, has nothing to do with that damn song. Except for the fact
I'm shocked.
Except for the fact that Humphrey Bogart is in it, and so is Lauren Bacall. But yeah, it's not about them having it all whatsoever. It's about Frank McCloud, who was a Army veteran who goes to isolated hotel in Key Largo, the Florida Keys, and Yeah, he doesn't take a boat there. He takes a bus there, by the way, Bertie. Anyway, so he goes to this hotel, finds that the hotel is closed down for the season. It's the summertime. And basically, he just wants to talk to the owner because the owner of the hotel, his son, had served with Humphrey Bogart's character during World War II. And, he was coming to, basically, tell him about how his son had passed and stuff like that. And then Lauren Bacall plays the daughter of the hotel owner, played by Lionel Barrymore. And for folks that aren't familiar with Lionel Barrymore, he was Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life. So it's interesting to see him playing now listen, you listen here, George Bailey, you're in enough trouble already. But playing like a good guy instead.
Yeah, nice.
Instead of, the 40s equivalent of Aunt Gladys from Weapons. But so it becomes apparent that there is some gangsters basically that are trying to do a deal, like either a drug deal or a weapons deal, and so they've basically taken over the hotel. At first, they're trying to keep it quiet, and they pay the hotel owner like a huge amount of money so that they'll close down the hotel. Their cover stories that they're just there on a fishing trip, but then soon it becomes apparent that it's actually Johnny Rocco, played by Edward G. Robinson, who is kind of like just a big gangster kind of character, like an Al Capone kind of guy. And so they end up like just kind of like butting heads with this guy who thinks that, he controls the world. And they're basically end up in this lockdown situation because a hurricane is moving in. So then it's like, okay, well, how do we escape these gangsters? And then at the same time, there's a subplot of two Oriole Native Americans who had run afoul of the law, and the cops think that they're hiding out at this hotel. So there's a lot going on in this movie, and it's a really well done kind of noir thriller film. And yeah, I was surprised at every turn, like just like the quality of it. And the fact also that they had actual Native Americans playing the Native American roles in 1948 was pretty nice.
That's something I never would have expected.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun and a lot of intrigue in this. And basically, in the end, they end up kidnapping Humphrey Bogart's character to drive their boat to Cuba so that they can escape the law and also get away with all their money and stuff. And then, how does he get out of that? I'll leave that to people to discover if they watch the movie. But I was pleasantly surprised by this one because, again, I just had like this idea of it being like some yacht rock romantic comedy that it just absolutely.
One Jeep Manjaro. Ooh, I wanna.
Right. It absolutely was not that. So, yeah, I do highly recommend Key Largo. It's a lot of fun. Have you seen this?
I have not seen it, and I know that Bogart and Bacall was a huge illicit love affair in Hollywood. And was this at the beginning? Like, was this their first film together? Do you know?
1948. I think it was the last one that they made together.
Okay. Because like Bogey and Bacall, that was a thing.
Right.
He was much older.
Yeah, I don't know much about their relationship, but I think I read that was the last one they did. So 1948, yeah, because they had already done some other stuff. They had done
Have and Have Not, The Big Sleep, and Dark Passage.
There you go.
and they all had that film noir style.
Right.
So, and like I think that they would, they ended up getting married, and I think they had kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've got the hot gossip on any on all kinds of old dead people.
I love my old dead people. Like, there was a 25-year age difference between them, and so theirs was a short happy marriage versus a long happy marriage.
I see. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So maybe Bertie Higgins had more reference to their real life than their characters in Key Largo.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's kind of fun. I love those old movies. I'll tell you what. Like, and I love like the crisp dialogue and everything that happens in those movies. And,
Yeah.
They're so fun to go back and revisit.
Well, some old movies can be like hit or miss in my book because some of them are just pure cheese. And because the standards at the time didn't allow them to explore any of the like darker areas of life often. But this movie does not shy away from any of that. It gets into the nitty gritty.
Okay.
And yeah, that's why I enjoyed it. So I think you'll enjoy it if you get a chance to see it. It is streaming now on HBO Max.
Okay, noted. I could probably watch that on my phone. Or my laptop.
Yes, you can.
Maybe I could do what Steve Carell did in The Office, and I could be like, would you like to see my new TV? And it's just my laptop Velcroed to the wall.
That'll work.
I mean, it could work. It could work. Okay, any others you want to share, or are you going to leave us?
Yeah, I'd say that I think Key Largo is considered one of those all-time classic movies. And 40 years later, another movie that was well-regarded, and it was big when I was in high school, but I don't think it has quite the cultural cachet. But nevertheless, I wanted to watch it just because it was one at the time when it came out where I thought, oh, I'd like to watch that. And then I kind of forgot about it for however long it's been, 40 years or so. And maybe not quite 40, but 30 years or so. But then I saw it streaming on Canopy, and I said, now is the day that I finally get to check out Tucker, the Man and His Dream. Have you seen it?
Is this the car guy?
Yes. 1988. It stars Jeff Bridges as Preston Tucker. Joan Allen's in it. Martin Landau, Christian Slater, Dean Stockwell. Many more.
I feel like I have seen bits of this. Like, was it about the Edsel?
No.
That I'm confusing movies, but also I do feel like I've seen parts of this. Did it come out around the same time as like
1988? 1988, so before that.
All right. Well, it had that vibe of like Pleasantville. It had a very colorful.
Well, it's set in 1945. It's just after the war. So they're like able to companies are able to start manufacturing stuff again for the consumer as opposed to for the war effort. So there's a huge factory that's kind of up for grabs. And this guy, Tucker, he's got the idea of making a more futuristic car because all the car companies have made basically the same model for years and years and years because they haven't really been able to, start developing and manufacturing new cars because all that like steel and ingenuity and engineering has to go to the war effort. So they've been kind of stuck in like 1940. And so Tucker realizes, hey, people are going to want to, now that they've got money again, and now that all these GIs are home and, the economy's starting to boom again, they're going to want to buy a new car. and they're not going to want the same old, same old. So he wisely, and the other thing is he's like, all these car companies have been like prioritizing like looks and stuff, but not prioritizing safety. So he comes up with several innovations like seatbelts, for instance, that help keep people safe. Pop-out windshield so people don't go through the windshield and get cut up. Shatterproof glass, stuff like that. So a headlight that turns when you turn, so that you have full coverage with the lighting. Stuff like that to help people be safer. So he ends up convincing like the government, like, oh, hey, give me this factory and I'll build this new car. So he does that, and but they're like, oh, you got to build a prototype, and his uncle is helping him out with this deal, and he ends up bringing in like a big time auto guy that decides to run the company. And of course, he wants to run the company like, all that stuff that you want to do is too expensive. So let's just make the same car as everybody else. And he's like, hey, it's my company. What are you talking about?
Hey,
it's got my name on it. Yeah. Yeah. And his whole thing is that he like does an interview with like a science magazine or an engineering magazine, and gives like a drawing of the car, and people went nuts for it. They absolutely wanted this car. And so, he's got all these like back orders before he's even made a single car. So then, they try and get this thing done, and they hit some stumbles along the way. Anyway, eventually he's able to manufacture this car, but by then it's kind of too late because the government is like saying that he was scamming people, and the Security and Exchange Commission, and that's being driven by a senator for Detroit, basically, that is in the pocket of Detroit and the big car companies. And so they basically accuse him of all this fraud and stuff, and they closed down his factory. But he had made 100 cars at this point, and the cars are still around to this day. And that's what was great about this movie, is they actually got all those cars, cleaned them up, and they look brand new in the movie. And it's pretty fantastic and pretty realistic.
Wow.
So I thought this is a fun story, and typically it's the kind of story that would maybe be a TV movie, or maybe like a mini series for an HBO Max, if you will. But at the time, we didn't have quite as many outlets, so it ended up being a major motion picture. And the acting is good, the story is fun, but maybe not the sort of thing where you go, wow, this is a, it definitely had to be a movie. But the director is our old buddy Francis Ford Coppola. So, which I didn't even realize till the end of it. I'm like watching this thing and I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then I start seeing like some of these like transitions between scenes, like, this is pretty masterful. Like this is some auteur stuff happening in this little movie. And then I see at the end, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I'm like, oh, of course. It's only one of those great filmmakers that you hear about all the time.
Yeah,
and of course, directed the Godfather movies that we watched. So yeah, it's a fun movie. Maybe not his best movie, just because the story itself is, while it's good, it's maybe does not have quite as many layers as something like a Weapons or something. It doesn't leave you thinking afterwards. It's just like, oh, well, that's a bummer. He had a good start, and then it just, it fizzled out. So I recommend it. I think it's a fun watch. I think the whole family can enjoy it, and it's under 2 hours. But again, it's not one of those like one that's going on the AFI Top 100 list, I don't think.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, though. I forget that it was like a real story, like the true story.
Yeah, absolutely. True story. And who knows? We could be driving Tuckers today if the big auto companies hadn't, put their fingers on the scale and kind of drove them out of business.
Yeah. Oh, drove them out of business. I see what you did there.
Right?
All right. That's kind of fun, though. And how crazy that it's Francis Ford Coppola. What a weird little...
Right. Yeah,
I
get. Yeah, because he did like The Godfather, and The Godfather 2 and all these, big
sweeping saga.
Yeah, and this movie is the opposite of that. It's not a sweeping saga at all. It's just a nice story of a is it even a nice story? It's a compelling story of an inventive guy who, starts a company and then can't make it work because of outside interference.
Right. Maybe it's the way that Francis Ford Coppola felt when he was starting his wine business. And he was like, what? I really relate to this.
I think it was well before that.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because, he got in the wine biz.
But yeah, I was just really surprised that he did this light kind of family drama when he's, responsible for The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's enjoyable. I can't really say anything bad about it. It's just that I think in today's movie-going experience, this would probably never have been released to a theatrical release just because it's a smaller story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing. I like smaller stories often.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be more indie fare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was so surprising that it was a really huge director doing this kind of small indie movie that was, a big blockbuster.
Yeah. Well, and, interesting. Who knows how the marketing was done, but, the fact that it was a surprise to you and it wasn't upfront, it's Francis Ford Coppola's Tucker the Man in His Dreams.
Right. Which is too long of a title. If they had done that, that's probably what the studio said.
Yeah, sure. And they're like, no, we're going to do it our way.
But yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Worth checking out.
That's kind of a cool thing. All right. So 3 movies, really. One got the double endorsement, and then Key Largo and Tucker the Man in His Dream.
Absolutely.
Worth watching. All right.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about our top topic for the week. And again, it's office behavior, microwave fish, etc. So do stay tuned for that. We'll get into it right after this break.
Don't ask me to talk.
Hey, I'm Stacey Heller. I'm one of your podcast pals, along with Eric Ryder from Don't Ask Me to Talk. Are you liking what you're listening to? Awesome. We would love if you would follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram as Don't Ask Me to Talk. We also are wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can follow us, subscribe, rate, whatever it is that you do. You can also email us. That's asking@don'taskmetotalk.com. And if you'd like, text or leave us a voicemail at 475-999-2726. Basically, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.
And we're back right here on Don't Ask Me to Talk. Eric Ryder here with you.
Hey, I'm Stacey Heller. I am one of your 2 podcast pals.
That's right. And more importantly, you're the person that lists the topics on the wheel. Now, each week we spin a wheel, the Wheel O Topics, and it helps us decide what we talk about in this last segment. We have a little friendly debate or just a friendly discussion on various issues and conversation starters. And in this last week, the wheel picked microwave fish in the workplace. Now, typically you have some kind of kernel of inspiration that drives you to add a topic to the wheel. So I always like to find out that background story, the behind the music, if you will, that
Pop-up
made,
video.
made Stacey decide to add this.
So this one was inspired. So with now all of my children, all 4 of them being adult children, all out in the world, working in an office environment, hearing them talk about some of their, shared work things, like whether it's, sodas are free, or you've got to label your lunch within an inch of your death, or like, it's the worst, like when you bring in snacks, like, so-and-so is going to take everything. And I just thought that was interesting because I never really worked in a traditional office environment. And, even coming into the studio occasionally to record with you, there is like it's not a cafeteria, but there's like the kitchen space. And sometimes there's food there that people are sharing and they're like, hey, take this. And so I just think those kind of dynamics can be really funny. And so I'm like, okay, what other dynamics besides microwaving your leftover freaking fish in the for lunch? What are some other quirky things that people do that are annoying? Or I don't know, maybe there's some good stuff that people do out there. I don't know. And having never worked in this environment, I only know the stories that I've heard that make me chuckle.
Now, I'll say this. I have worked in an office environment for the last, couple decades or so, and I've never come across, I was going to say I've never come across anybody microwaving fish, but just yesterday, somebody did microwave some salmon, but you know what? It wasn't bad at all. I don't like salmon, but it wasn't like particularly pungent or anything. It was just like they were just warming up their lunch. It was fine. Now, but this is one of those examples that I feel like is put in like movies and commercials and stuff of like particularly odious behavior that I've never actually come across. Despite, working in an office environment for a long, long time. So I wonder if it is something that actually does happen. I don't know, because I haven't really experienced it. It seems like people would be like, unless they are purposely trying to annoy other people, which I have heard stories about that, like, this is my last day, screw them. I'm gonna, cook a trout to to dust.
Well, and I hear about like the things like the lunches that are left, or people not doing dishes, and that is like, it's a petty annoyance, but an annoyance. Or you're cooking something in the microwave and it sort of explodes and you don't bother to clean the microwave.
Right.
Like those kinds of things. I feel like, there's got to be that one employee or one coworker that does those things. And then I'm sure there's the one coworker that's like the mom that's like, oh, for God's sakes, just clean it up. It's not that big of a deal. And like most people just shy away from it and like, well, I'll just do this. Or like, weird things like the kids were telling me about like, God forbid you have to poop at work. You have to go to a different floor. And I'm like, really? Is that a thing? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you must have got that from your dad. Because honestly, when I gotta go, I gotta go.
Right. I mean, I guess it depends on the bathroom setup. If it's like small and within the office itself, or is it, down the hall? Like here, luckily, it's not as part of our office. It's part of the floor, but and there's multiple stalls and stuff. So I don't think that's quite the issue. Sometimes they've all been occupied, and that's annoying, and I do have to go to another floor. But for the most part, it's not like that in this particular work environment, thankfully. And I got to say, for the most part, all my coworkers have been really well behaved, easy to get along with. But I'll tell you the one thing that happens a lot that frustrates me is we have a recycle bin, we have a garbage bin, and we have a compost bin, right?
Okay.
And I feel like in 2026, everybody should know what is recyclable, what is garbage, what is compost. But every single damn day, I'll see in the recycling bin stuff that cannot be recycled, and it's like food garbage, like plastic with food all over it, like just thrown in the recycling bin. Like,
no.
And I get it. Okay, maybe you don't read each of the labels every single day, but if you've worked here more than one day, clearly you've seen those signs and you know where each bin is. But I see non-compostable in the compost. I see, non-recyclable in the recyclable. And, the garbage thing, that can take any of the stuff. So that's not even a big deal. But in the recycling, even if it's aspirational recycling, because you hear about that, people recycling plastic that can't actually be recycled.
Right.
You got to know that it's got to be clean plastic, right? I mean, you got to know that
you have to clean out your can, people.
Yeah.
Or your bottle or your whatever.
You can't just put in cardboard with spaghetti sauce on it. That's worse than not recycling at all. So yeah, that drives me bonkers. But that's about it when it comes to office annoyance. Thankfully,
I mean that's pretty good because I think that once upon a time it seems like everybody used to have their own office. Now work environments are much more open, whether it's cubicles or just completely open concept or whatever it is. And you don't have your own space per se. You may have your area that you go to, but you don't own a space in the same way. And so I think that's changed the dynamics a little bit.
Yeah, that is something that that was strange to me about 15 years ago. They decided people really shouldn't have cubicles anymore. They feel like prairie dogs or whatever in these little things that they pop their heads over. So let's do an open concept. And that would swept the corporate world. And then, the company here did the same thing. And the remodel looked nice, but it is weird how there'll be these trends that everybody just decides to get on. And then, of course, there's problems that come with both things when maybe they weren't doing the quite as much collaboration as they hoped if they had the walls between them. But there's also the problem when they don't have the cubicle of people don't feel like they're in a private environment, can have a phone conversation with a client or whatever. So then they had to set up little spaces for people to go make their phone calls. And then it becomes awkward, they won't even answer a call coming to their desk because it's I don't want to be having an out loud conversation with everybody just right around me hearing things. You see old movies though, and then it's all open concept. Yeah. And it's
they're all talking.
Right. There's no issue with that apparently whatsoever, even though they're 2 feet away from the next person also having a conversation. I don't know how anybody got anything done. I feel with the open concept thing now, the headphones have become a way more common thing. So I feel people get more isolated than they were before when they had like some tiny bit of privacy. It's just weird, but
what we forget is that when you were talking to somebody on the phone back in the day, everybody around you isn't hearing them. They're just hearing you. And it's the same thing when you're wearing headphones. It's just that you can't necessarily hear all the other people.
Yeah, with the headphones, you're blocking out the other people on purpose. Yeah, which is what people are doing now more often because they don't have that like little barrier that they had before. So, like I said, there's more isolation happening with an open office concept than there was before the open office thing, which is ironic. But yeah, who knows what they'll come up with next.
No, what I want to know is, if we're talking about sort of assumed tropes about the workplace, is there an office water cooler? Where's the place that people gather?
We don't have we have filtered water, but people don't typically gather around. I think the big cup concept came into effect around the same time. So people now have big containers of water that they take everywhere with them, or bottles, So there's not that congregation, but there is the coffee maker, there is the kitchen space. So, people do like gather in there, but you know what? With at the same time, we've seen a loss of like TV that captivates the whole country. You know what I mean? People, there at the same time where we phased out the water cooler, we've also phased out water cooler moments.
Yeah,
because people. Now are watching all different things. It's more like, have you seen this? No. Oh, okay. Well, check it out. It's kind of like the cultural blind spot that everybody has now.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, you think about when there was, even if there was 30 channels to watch, generally there was the main channels and the other ones were a little bit more niche, and everybody was watching must-see TV and talking about it the next day.
Yeah, remember when Bruce Springsteen came out with that song, 57 channels and nothing's on it? Like, that seems so quaint now.
I know, right? 57, wow.
Remember when there was 57? There was only 57 channels? Jeez.
God, those were the good days.
And you had to, make an appointment to watch something? Ugh. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I've shared some of my experiences. Have you ever had a job that you had coworkers, or have you always been a mother / independent contractor?
I have pretty much always been, I was at home, or I did retail jobs where the whole like people bringing their lunch and then, potentially taking something that wasn't theirs, or if there was like an extra soda or something that didn't have a name on it, that it was taken because it was a small little cramped space, or people smelling. That's an awkward conversation to have. When you're doing that kind of thing. For a while there, I worked in the food industry, and with that one, it's more like the petty annoyances of people just not cleaning up after themselves and things like that, where stuff just gets left. And because you're not working a typical 9-to-5 type everyday gig, there may be 3 or 4 days that pass and you're like, come on. And so more those kinds of things, not as traditional. And, if I consider my kids my coworkers, then they're annoying. Never putting anything away, leaving me to do everything. I had to clean the toilet.
You kids are all fired.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm leaving this company, in fact. You know what? You're not fired. I quit.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Exactly. And so it's just interesting. Like, there's definitely some nuances to working in an office environment that is like a unique situation, and is different than even the jobs that I've had that have been more retail or restaurant based. I mean, look, the one time that I had an office job, I was doing temp work and I got a job working for Macmillan Publishing. And it was in Greenwich, Connecticut, which is a hoity-toity neighborhood in Connecticut. And I worked front desk reception part-time. And I had to get dressed up because I was the face of the headquarters and where the president was located. And it didn't occur to me that I shouldn't do any of these things as the literal lowest person on the totem pole. But I would get to work. I would put my stuff away. I would march right into the president's personal kitchen because it was the closest one. And I would get out a glass and I would fill it with ice and I would pour a Diet Coke and I put a little coaster on the desk and I would sit there and I would do whatever I was doing. And like, it didn't occur to me until I had been there for like 6 months or something. And I started becoming some friends with some of the coworkers. And they're like, I gotta tell you, like, that's pretty ballsy. You're not even going to like, they had the little areas that had little mini refrigerators and snacks and stuff. They're like, you're going straight to the boss's kitchen?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And, so it just didn't occur to me. I was like, whatever. And when I found out from the guy in charge, he was like, I don't care. I'm glad somebody's using it. So, I don't know. It just didn't occur to me to have boundaries. So I'm probably the problem because if you can't figure out the problem, you're the problem.
Right. Yeah. The one thing that we run into issues here sometimes is a shared refrigerator with things getting people bringing in too much stuff. And then it just and forgetting about it. And so every so often they have to send out the memo. We're cleaning out the refrigerator. Take all your stuff out unless you want it thrown away. And then, it gets stinky. And we used to have a coworker that would write the notes, passive aggressive notes, and then sign it Sister Mary Discipline, which I always thought was funny. I like to think I was never one of the problem children when it came to that sort of thing, but I probably brought in too much stuff at one point. But I always eat my stuff, so I don't know.
There you go.
But right. Yeah, so unfortunately, there's way more we could say on this, but we've got to run and we got to figure out what we're talking about next week. So
yeah,
let me spin the wheel.
All right.
Fantastic Failure. And we're not talking about the first 3 Fantastic Four movies that were made.
No. This was inspired. This is sort of a 2-part, so you could go in one of 2 directions. So I know that you won't think about this until 5 minutes before we start next week's episode, but either a time that you failed fantastically or a time that your failure turned into something fantastic.
Right. Okay. Now that is something that I'll be thinking about for the week because I feel like I need a week to come up with a good answer on this one.
There you go.
But yeah, that is a head scratcher. That's a thinker. That's a weapons level topic, if you will.
Nice. All right. Well, so we've given you some time to think. And hey, listener, if you have something that you want to share, then you could absolutely share, I don't know, like a review wherever you listen to your podcast, or you could also reach out to us at asking@don'taskmeTotalk.com.
We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful week. Stacy, be safe down there. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Say hi to say hi to Spurs Jesus for me.
I will.
All right.